Hey guys, and welcome to our review of Violet Evergarden, Episode 9. I'm your host, the Cinder Blaze, and with me today we have...
Makotoa.
Welcome back, and... Audience, this is probably our last episode of Violet Evergarden. I didn't really check, but at the end of this episode, I'm pretty sure everyone could have felt like this could have been the end.
This feels like the end, and I went through a lot of different emotions through this episode. I don't know where to even start, honestly.
I'm just gonna say, my overall thoughts for this episode. That finale was beautiful. The emotions it made me feel were just... They were, really genuine, you know? They weren't, too intense. It wasn't, the most, tragic stuff. It wasn't, the most arduous journey. But, you felt every single... I mean, it was pretty painful, honestly. That whole death scene that we see at the beginning of the episode.
Freaking death scene. That was hard to go through.
Oh, yeah, but, I'm, more referring to, what happened, after that. Her kind of, recovery. It was, not much happened, but, it meant a lot. Each and every episode actually did, leave an impression on her. They were permanent, they were everlasting. Just, that past of hers, and the way they just brought the two together, it was a beautiful episode overall.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, there were so many different, this episode had, I don't want to call it mood swings, but, it went from this, intense, sort of war-like type of situation where I was not expecting it to be as graphic as it was.
That was extremely gruesome.
That was, whoa. Her arm just kind of slipped right out.
And, one bullet and just kind of
oh, break that part.
The sound effect was there.
That part, too. Yeah, one bullet just took her arm clean off. Oh, my gosh. And then, it went from that and this, crazy, her feeling those emotions and digging through the rubble and stuff, that kind of anger or that frustration and trauma, and then it goes to this incredibly, depressing, melancholy, situation where she just wants to be alone. She almost kills herself by strangling herself. She has this nightmare about, the admiral
Gilbert.
Gilbert pretty much saying, how can you be happy with, or where do you get off with using those hands to make connections when you've used them to kill so many people. I'm sure that hurt, hearing her, the only person she seems to not, I guess that's not true, but
yeah, she didn't really see the consequences of the actions of the war, because she thought that Gilbert survived that entire time, so nothing was really lost for her during that time period. But the second she actually learns that Gilbert died, it's well, that was her whole world back then.
Yeah.
That was literally her realizing her entire world is just collapsing right in front of her, and the mourning period, it was real sad the entire way through the episode, because we start with Gilbert dying, and he's dying for a good amount of time, and then we actually get to the scene that we saw at the beginning of the series where he tells her that he loves her and stuff, and
she's
the lead up for
what's
that
love? What is it? I don't understand. And then he freaking and then we don't know what he did, but he tried to push her out of the way or something, and we we're just what do you got? Instant teleportation now? What's going on here? And then
I think it's just the smoke kind of erased our vision from it. If we were standing right there, and the smoke just kind of went in front of them, because we just didn't see them. I think that's the effect they were going for. I kind of felt that, but also we still didn't see the body of Gilbert, so it's it's still up there, whether he's alive or not. But it's most likely he's dead. Although halfway through this episode, I started fantasizing about a cyborg Gilbert who's like mostly machine, just like coming out of nowhere. And you know, that's a slight hope I had for this entire episode, just to keep my spirits up. But it was still pretty sad the entire way through.
When she got the letter, and it was just like, is this from him? How long ago were those letters lost? Like, is it from him, or you know, did these?
Yeah, the suspense for real, dude.
And then you know, is this a fake letter? Are they gonna try and cheer her up or something, and you know, lead her on this goose chase that's gonna ultimately lead to more disappointment? Like,
yeah, and if it was a fake letter, this definitely wouldn't have been the last episode.
Yeah, no, but
like that was like you know, their genuine feelings, and like it kind of made like the entire anime go full circle with her learning to give other people letters and then receiving one for herself.
She even gave letters out this particular moment. Like, she's been writing the letters the whole time, but the feeling of like delivering them like that, going through it, and you know, she got to hear someone, a letter, and then you know, she gets to feel that this episode receiving one. You know, now I finally feel what it's like to receive a letter. And like, she's like that, just walking down the street and realizing, you know, all these different people that she's changed, or she, you know, she's influenced. And like, I think that's what kept her going through this, and that's the theme of it, is that she went all this time, she was building a life, but she wasn't like, she was putting all of her effort into it, but she was still holding out that the general, or you know, the major, would finally come back one day. So she was just doing what she could with what she had. But this was never going to be, you know, her end all be all, in my opinion. Like, she wanted to learn, like, she was curious to learn what I love you meant, but she had not given up on the major being alive, not in the least. And so it's because
it was more like missions that were given to her.
Yeah, and she had this life built up, but she didn't realize it until what she believed was all she had was taken. And when that was taken, like, I think if she didn't have this life she was building, she would have there would have been nothing to keep her alive at all. She would have definitely, like, killed herself or just died of, like, depression or something, like that kind of thing. But then she, you know, reflects on the changes she's made since, and the people she's influenced. And like, I knew that moment was going to come at the end, where he was going to tell her, you know, she asked that the dude the question, Dio's voice, and she's like, do I really deserve the right to live? And he's like, you can't change the past, you can't erase the past. And I was like, oh, please don't be cheesy for this last line. Please don't be cheesy. Don't be some stupid anime-like thing. But it wasn't. And I was so satisfied with it. Oh my gosh. But, you know, those things, the good things you've done, won't be forgotten either. Oh.
Yeah. And, like, that kind of, like, whole, like, build-up to... like, I really enjoyed when the abusive older brother was the first one that kind of like started this whole chain, like this whole chain reaction, so to speak.
Yeah.
Where, you know, when Violet is like kind of done writing the letter for the brother, you know, he tells her like about like how he's kind of like changed his life and he's turned for like the better, and like how he's moving forward with his life, and like that was like the catalyst for like her kind of realizing that she's got to move on. And then she's like on the way, like a walk back, she sees the violet flowers.
Yeah.
And like she sees like she sees herself in that, like all of her past scars and all that stuff, and she like accepts it, and then she just like, you know, runs all the way back to work.
No, I love the part how like it was a metaphor. Like she flashbacked, and in her place was the major, and the, you know, the flowers were her. The flowers were her in this moment in time. And when it went back to reality, the major's eye dissolved into the brooch. The brooch. And it was like,
man, I didn't catch that. That's actually
dude,
pretty neat.
You have to go back and see that. I didn't, like, when that happened, that's why I was like, oh. Oh. Oh.
Yeah. What a way to make that scene.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe they pulled... Yeah, go back. You gotta watch that, but... This... Like, if this is the finale... Oh man, this hurts, but it's like, it wraps it up, you know? This could be the finale, right?
Yeah.
Like,
and it also gave me closure for Gilbert's death. You know? Like, I know this is Violet's problem, but, you know, I also kind of care for the dude, slightly.
Yeah.
I mean, I still have hope for him, you know, being resurrected as a battle-cast cyborg.
And
but
I looked it up just now, Alex.
Is this the last episode?
It's not the last episode.
Well.
Oh, it's not, but this... Oh...
It's the last episode in this part of Violet's life.
I don't know. Like, what are they gonna... Gilbert. It has to be Gilbert. It has to be. Please. That's all that's left. He's got... Oh. This gives me hope.
Knows?
It gives me hope. Okay. I won't get ahead of myself. Do you want me to tell you how many episodes, or should I just leave that out?
I think we should just leave that out.
Okay.
Let's let people kind of, like, enjoy it as it is.
Yeah.
And not, like, cap themselves with the episode.
Yeah. Okay, then I won't tell you.
Alright. Well, do you have any final thoughts for this episode, then? Judging as it's not the last.
Other than, like, I think that there's this, like... And I don't know if this is a terrible thing, because it's... But, like, I'm like, I cannot wait for this episode to get dubbed so that I can show it to people and make them as sad as I am right now. Like... I don't know if that's terrible, but, like...
Yeah, you're a terrible person. Alright.
That's it.
Alright, well, that wraps it up for me as well. So, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe down below. And make sure to check out our description for all of our social media links and that juicy Discord chat. I already used juicy, so I can't say keep it juicy for the outro. But, we'll catch you guys later.
See ya.